Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Can anybody hear me? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Testing, testing. Hello, hello. Anybody in chat, let me know if you can hear me. Awesome. All right. So, sorry, I know that I've repeated. Can you hear me a bunch of times? That was before I knew you could hear me. So, let's take a look around here so far and take a look at what we've got. As of right now, we've got this large tornado watch area spanning between Wyoming, South Dakota, and Nebraska, as well as a little area here of severe thunderstorm watch. I think I said tornado warning. I meant severe thunderstorm watch. Sorry, I meant tornado watch. Can't speak. We also, over here in Michigan, which I'm not going to talk a whole lot about because tornadoes aren't expected as much as they are over here to the west. I know that there have been some tornadoes, and I know that this special marine warning over here is for waterspouts. So, but for right now, my main focus is on the Great Plains over here because this is where the bulk of the tornadoes are supposed to happen. Those are the most severe storms you can have, so we're going to focus on these over here. Right now, what we've got is we've got a tornado warning. Right over here, it is for Bluff County, Nebraska, Banner County, Nebraska, and Goshen County in Wyoming. So for those people who live there, this is a radar indicated. It's radar indicated rotation. We can take a look here really quickly at. Let's see here. We can take a look at base velocity, and we do have a very strong couplet there. We've got very strong outgoing winds meeting very strong incoming winds. Outbound versus inbound. And so what we have right here is we have an area of it was broad rotation at first. I've been watching this for a while, and it was an incredibly well-defined hook echo for a minute there. The couplet wasn't really there, so now we are seeing that tightening, and so there's likely both a mesocyclone and there could be a tornado in that. There's definitely the rotation there for it, so we will keep an eye on that. I'm going to switch over to correlation coefficient really quickly, and there's this area right here, that little area of blue that is making me slightly worried. So I'm going to take a look at reflectivity and see where that is. Okay, that's probably hail at this point, east of Hawk Spring. Where's Hawk Spring at? Is that Michigan? Hawk Spring. That sounds like it would be from over here. Where is Hawk Spring at, guys? If you tell me where it is, I can pull it up here. I'm just not seeing it. Um, Was it the storm that I was originally at? This guy right here. Oh, Hawk Spring. Yep. The rotation is beginning to tighten with that guy again, so it is likely that you can see right here you've got the inbound winds in this green area, and then you've got the outbound winds over here. So this is an area of potential. I mean, obviously, there's a tornado warning on it, so that means that the National Weather Service thinks that it is worthy of a tornado warning because there's a potential tornado there. So basically, what we've got right now is we've got radar indicated rotation and ping pong sized hail. And the areas that are impacted are Bluff County in Nebraska, Banner County in Nebraska, Scotts Bluff County in Nebraska, Banner County in Nebraska, and Goshen County in Wyoming. It has not quite crossed the border yet. It's almost there. So Wyoming is almost out of the threat from this one particular supercell. Yep, Scotts Bluff County, Nebraska. Thank you, DZ. We also just in general have quite a few of these like little supercells popping up. The air is very unstable in this general area. A lot of cape, which means that you've got a lot of potential for lift and updraft that you need in order to start severe thunderstorms, including supercells that might have tornadoes. As we get closer to 2Z, which 2Z, if I remember correctly, let me take a look. 2Z UTC to Central Daylight Time. 2Z UTC is, it's about 9 p.m. So as we get closer to 9 p.m., I'm going to be watching this border area between Nebraska and South Dakota, because we did have a lot of the like high resolution models were showing in this area around oh wait, that's now. Oh yeah, that is now. Okay, a lot of the models were showing rotation in this area between Nebraska and South Dakota, and it's actually like updraft helicity is what it's called, and so that is the ability that for the updraft to essentially spiral and become an issue. That maxed out in this area right around 2 UTC. So we'll see what happens if there are any tornadoes. I'm assuming that that's probably why there's a tornado watch in the general area, is because of all of the updraft helicity that we see, that we're potentially seeing in this area. The watch text is thunderstorms will intensify this afternoon over eastern Wyoming and along a boundary over northern Nebraska. These storms will affect the watch area throughout the evening, posing a risk of large hail, damaging wind gusts, and a few tornadoes. The tornado watch area is approximately along and 60 statute miles north and south of a line from 45 miles northwest of Douglas, Wyoming, to 30 miles northeast of Ainsworth, Nebraska. For complete depictions of the watch, see the associated watch outline update. So conditions here are favorable for tornadic activity. We've already seen a couple of tornado warnings popping up in this area. We do once again have this one tornado warning down here, which if we run back over to the Cheyenne radar site, we can probably see this a little bit better. Take a look at base velocity again. It looks like the rotation is deteriorating. We did have a very defined couplet earlier, and now what we're seeing is this broader rotation, which is a signature of a mesocyclone. Have there been any confirmed tornadoes? That's a good question. Let me run to the SPC website really quickly. Take a look at any Storm reports. There have been 10 tornado reports, all in this eastern Wyoming area. Now, just because there's a storm report for it doesn't mean that there was actually a tornado there. That just means that there was a report of a potential tornado, and it hasn't yet been verified by National Weather Service survey team. So, I wonder if this one here has a history of producing tornadoes. It doesn't say, but a lot of those tornado reports were in this general area. I can actually probably turn on local storm reports. Yeah, so there were emergency managers reporting tornadoes, public emergency manager. Storm chasers saw this one up here, so that's a pretty good sign that there may have actually been a tornado up here. What is this? That is hail. Got some hail here, although hail in pretty much any supercell is to be expected. Now I'm going to look at these two up here because they are starting to get that kind of hook that we're looking for here. So we'll go to base velocity really quickly. We're getting to the edge of where this radar site's useful, and there's not really another good radar site along the way to look at. We can try switching over to KLNX really quickly. If the data ever loads. Doesn't look like it wants to. Okay, we'll switch back to KCYS really quickly. That's getting data. We'll try KLNX one more time. Here we go. Data's coming in now. There we go. Okay, so this storm here, once again, it's a little too far away to actually tell. I can't tell you whether or not there's rotation there. There's probably a pretty broad rotation, especially as we get into this area here where this little notch is beginning to form. What we're likely seeing is an updraft coming in right into this area here, and then pulling in and rotating, creating a mesocyclone right up here. Mesocyclone does not mean tornado. If there is a mesocyclone, it's more likely to have a tornado than if it doesn't have a mesocyclone, because in order to have a tornado, you really need that upper level rotation in the mesocyclone. You also need ground level rotation. There are a lot of competing theories right now on tornado genesis. The most popular one at this point is that tornadoes form from the ground up. So 82 mile per hour gust in Valentine, Nebraska. Let's take a look at the storm reports on that. Probably right here. Yep, 82. That's crazy. That is some very strong wind. That's from this line right here. So this is probably got a shut like this. What this is doing right now is this is bowing out to the front. So actually what you end up getting here is as this bows out further, you get just a buildup of wind behind the front. And then you can also have tornadoes spawn on either edge of these little bow fronts where it kind of spirals naturally because of how the front is shaped itself. So this is going to be one to take a look at and to keep an eye on. There's probably a lot of good lightning right in this area here. So if you're ever a chaser and you're looking for like good areas to get like pictures and whatnot, in front of this, you're going to see probably a nice shelf cloud in front of it and also behind it. It looks like there's a little supercell right here that's popping up. Let's grab a look here at velocity. No mesocyclone yet, but the reflectivity structure is looking a lot like that could be a supercell. These three are definitely supercells. We're going to actually, because that tornado warning is still over here, we're going to come back So this storm is probably, let's switch over to base velocity. Yeah, the rotation is really dying down in this, which is good news for, let's see, who is this going to affect? For Lagrange, although Lagrange is a bit on the south end here. Yeah, there's still some rotation up here to the north. This isn't necessarily this isn't where I would be looking for a tornado out. I would be looking for a tornado out in front here. It looks like these are potentially merging cells, so this could become a convective line. So supercells have the defining feature of having a mesocyclone. Now, a storm like a squall line can have mesocyclones, and when squall lines do have mesocyclones, we call those embedded, whereas these ones out here are discrete. So you can see that there is some rotation in these. And that rotation is broad upper level rotation, whereas tornadoes are more like focused lower level rotation. Now, the fact that these ones over here are so far away from the radar site, I mean, I guess they're not all that far away from the radar site, but there's not really a great radar site to see these two on, or these three. This one's developing out here. So taking a look at velocity, if I do see any rotation in there at all, which I do see some rotation, this is likely very high up in the thunderstorm. So we're talking probably 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers up into the thunderstorm. And if there's still that rotation there, then that means that you have a rotating updraft. So they also typically have this this kind of defining shape. So they oftentimes have a rain-free slot, which that is both an updraft and a downdraft. So you have the rain-free updraft base, and you have a lot of times that'll be in kind of like a horseshoe shape. So we do see this horseshoe shape right here. These two do look like they're hooking. I really wish that I had a better radar sight for these. It's just out of useful range of both KCYS and KLNX. So as this moves to the east, we'll get a better picture of what's going on there. Now this guy down here is still tornado warned. The tornado warning for Wyoming has expired, but we still have the tornado warning in Nebraska. They're still saying that there's radar indicated rotation, but I don't see it. I'm willing to bet that unless they think this storm is cycling, I'm willing to bet that we see this tornado warning disappear before long. Yeah, no problem, Sophie. It's my pleasure. I enjoy the weather, and I enjoy talking about the weather too. So if you ever have any questions about the weather, let me know. If I have time, I'll definitely answer them. If you're not in my Discord, which actually I should have put that in a description to the video. Don't know why I didn't. Give me just a second here. Hold on. Getting to it. Go in the description of the live stream, you can see the invitation link to my Discord channel, so definitely take a look at that. I typically on Discord, so if you ever have any questions, let me know. We just got the most recent radar scan in, so I'm going to go ahead and grab base velocity again. Yeah, I don't really see much. Unless I'm missing something here. We're going to grab a little bit of a higher radar beam. So yeah, I mean, there's upper level rotation, but there's like nothing in the lower level of the storm. I'm baffled that they still have that. I'm wondering if the rotation that they're talking about is the fact that there are stronger outflow winds. I don't know. Because I don't see, it doesn't look like there's a rotating updraft. That's a difficult call right there. How's it going, Weather Point? How are you? I'm gonna run back over to reflectivity here, and it looks like the severe thunderstorm warning that was for these two little supercells here is still ongoing. There is ping pong sized hail and potentially 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So that is no, I don't work at the National Weather Service. That's a dream of mine. So hopefully once I graduate, I'm going to try to work at the National Weather Service. Can you determine lower level radar? Can you determine lower level with radar sight from far away? It's really difficult to, but the radar sight in this case is not that far from this thunderstorm here, so we can see more reliably low level rotation, especially since it's so close to the radar site. Also, one cool thing, a lot of times with big severe thunderstorm complexes, they can form these outflow bands, which actually end up picking up precipitation of their own and then kind of progressing, and you could even have storms form on that. Tilt one at distance might. Right. Yeah, so what's going on between here and here is the radar beam is increasing more and more as it gets further and further away from Cheyenne. So if there was a thunderstorm out here at tilt 1, you would be looking at data from out here probably at like tilt 3. Monster wedge earlier. Yeah, I saw some Twitter, some tweets, I guess, about some of the tornadoes that were caught on camera earlier today. I'm assuming that they are. I mean, I'm sure that they are. They have been doing this a lot longer than I have. So I appreciate that, Weather Point. I still have a little ways to go. Weather Point, I'm using a radar program called WSV3. It's $25, but it is beyond worth it. It's $25 a month, but it's beyond worth it. I'm okay paying out of pocket a little bit for good data, so do definitely see an inflow notch here kind of tightening. So I'm going to switch over to this radar site over here and see if I can find any. How's it going, Elijah? See if I can find any rotation. Of course, once again, this radar site's giving me some grief. Switch back over to this one really quickly. All right. That's the one thing about this program is sometimes you can click on sometimes you click on these radar sites and then they like don't send you any information. So we're gonna take a look at rotation. There is some rotation in these, so at this point we're looking fairly high up in the thunderstorm, but there is rotation in this. There's likely going to be a mesocyclone in these. In fact, I can click on meso here and it will probably show me, yeah, rotation there. Didn't look like there was much rotation in this one, but there's definitely some in this guy right here. I don't usually use the non-radio products because I don't find them super helpful. A lot of times you'll get some false calls with them. Discord's a pain. Yeah, it can be kind of hard to learn, so I don't blame you. All right. This severe thunderstorm warning was issued at 6:56 p.m. Central Daylight Time, and it is ongoing. It is for Cherry County in north central Nebraska, Rock County in central Nebraska, Brown County in north central Nebraska, and Keapaha County in north central Nebraska. And there's 70 mile per hour wind gusts and half dollar sized hail. It's all radar indicated. There are no storm reports, although this storm in particular did produce 82 mile per hour winds behind. So I literally just made this account like 10 minutes ago, and I'm about to upload my winter forecast on Saturday. Sounds good. Sounds good, Weather Point. I don't really do the seasonal forecasts a whole lot. I did make one for fall, and I wasn't super happy with how it came out. We'll see. DZ, is it, if it's not okay? Oh, no. It's fine to post it. I haven't really uploaded a whole lot on that. I'm building a team right now, actually, to upload convective outlooks on the website. That will probably start in January. I know that January is not really a month where those are necessary, but I mean, if you live in Dixie Alley, I guess it's going to be helpful, right? The winter tornadoes in the south, so. I may end up doing a winter forecast. I may also end up doing a fall forecast. They're just not really my thing. I don't find them to be too terribly reliable most of the time. But yeah. I guess if you can get some good long range models. How's David? David and I are no longer working together. Some drama happened, and I kind of wanted to separate myself from the drama. So, I'm happy having no drama surrounding my internet activities. So, I'm trying to do this to help. Not only as a not only because I like doing it, but I'm also doing it as kind of like a resume booster. And I don't really want to have drama kind of surrounding that, So we're still on good terms, though. I just needed to kind of separate my name. So. Looks like all the storms up here are kind of organizing themselves into a line, although there is this one here. It's kind of messing that up. Now, once again, to be behind these storms, you would see some amazing lightning, and you would probably see some mamatas as well. How's it going, Just Weather? welcome to the channel. So I'm going to turn off storm reports because I don't really care to see those. We do have a hail signature here, so it's likely that this little storm right here has a hail core in it. What you see is the spike coming out of the actual cell itself, although usually you would see 3, so I'm not entirely sure. But I guess it's possible, but the reflectivity numbers on that aren't very high. Let's try to get a higher beam in that. (7:47 to 8:02 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time was the rotation. I appreciate that, Just Weather. Feel free to drop a comment sometime, or if you're in my Discord server, I mean, you could join my Discord server as well. The link to that is in the description of this live stream. And it's also in the description of all my videos. I also have a Twitter, which should be like right here, I think, on screen. So, yeah, if you need more ways to like get in contact with me or something like that, those are the ways to do it. Take a look at velocity here. There are some powerful winds on the back end of this thing. We're gonna quickly look at downdraft gust potential, and we are seeing 70 mile per hour downdrafts. (65 miles per hour). Trying to see if I see anyone that's a little bit more than that. Oh, I think I saw 71 here. 71.6 miles per hour. Also, take a look at echotops here. These are massive storms. You can kind of see where the updrafts have punctured through the tropopause here. About 51,000 kilometers, or sorry, 51,000 feet, my bad. That would be very, very high. But yeah, 51,000 feet again, about 56,000 feet over here. So very high echotops. We're going to grab probability of severe hail, and we see that severe hail, by the way, is defined as hail that is larger than 2 inches in diameter. So we see that we've got a 99% probability of severe hail in this area, which means that there is a very large hail core there, and there is likely very, very powerful updrafts. We do see high reflectivity values, and now that being said, it's an experimental kind of data product. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's there, but based on the research that they've done, whoever puts out that data product, they've determined that those are the values that they like to see when they're looking for severe hail. The tornado warning that was over here in Wyoming and Nebraska has been canceled, so that's good news. I didn't think that would last very much longer. The rotation was dying on it as we spoke. We can come back over and take a quick. I'm going to hit play on this really quickly so that we can see how it kind of devolved. Yeah, this is lifespan of this is kind of died out, and so what you're seeing is the downdraft actually overpower the updraft, and so it's cutting off moisture from getting into the storm itself, and so that's kind of killing it off. Now it can switch back to an updraft dominant storm mode, but right now it's downdraft dominant, and so it's probably going to end up dying out unless it can find a way to once again rekindle the fire that it once had. Still 2 supercells over here. Probably actually just 1 supercell. That other one's just shaped like a supercell. That is a cell, though. It's just not. It doesn't have a rotating updraft on it. Still calling for 60 mile per hour and 1-inch hail in this severe thunderstorm warning here. Almost 2-inch hail in this one up here to the north. Golf ball sized hail in that severe thunderstorm warning to the north, in that severe thunderstorm watch area. So I'm gonna take a quick look at Michigan here. Ooh, there's a tornado warning up here. So we're actually gonna switch to Michigan really quickly. I know that the stream says that it's about the Dakotas and the Great Plains, but there is a tornado warning over here. So we're gonna take a look at that really quickly. Gonna grab base velocity here. There is a very well-defined couplet in this. That is likely. We don't have a debris ball. We do, however, have a very, very well-defined couplet right in this area right here. So we do see a bit of an inflow notch developing over here. We're going to take a look at gate-to-gate shear. And those are high gate-to-gate shear values. We're seeing 50 knots. I saw 50 knots at a high end over here somewhere, which those could sustain tornadoes. Oh, there's also 126 knots right there. Is that where? No, that's not where. It's going to be right in this area here. So we're going to leave that guy right there just so I can see where I'm moving. But we're going to come back to gate shear here. Yeah. So that is what about that? Is that? Yeah, this is, if there is a tornado in this one, which it's very possible for there to be a tornado in this one, that's probably where it's going to be. Come back to reflectivity here. We have inflow winds coming out of the south and then twisting into this system, and then we also have downdraft winds coming out of this this storm right here. The wind couplet, the velocity couplet, sorry, is so well defined that is tightened rotation, which is what you're looking for when you're looking for tornadoes on radar, as opposed to broad rotation, which is a signature of a mesocyclone. I'm going to take a quick look back over here and see if there's anything. Grab the Denver radar site here. Let's see what this guy's doing. Not doing a whole lot there. As these two get closer to the radar site, we'll come back over here and take a look at those. But for right now, we're going to keep an eye on this tornado warning up here in Michigan. Yep, that hook is starting to form, starting to develop a lot clearer. This tornado warning is for Tuscaloosa County in southeastern Michigan. It's for the eastern portion of the county. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Cairo, moving east at 35 miles per hour. Tornado and quarter-sized hail, radar indicated rotation. This storm is headed for Kingston. It will be at Kingston at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So if you live in Kingston, take shelter now because this is a storm that potentially has a tornado. We're just waiting for eyes on the ground to confirm that. There's very powerful rotation in this area, which leads me to believe that there could be tornadic activity going on here. If not now, then this could be something that develops very quickly. So if you live in Kingston, take no chances, take cover immediately. Yes, I do. There are a lot of tornado days that are ingrained in my memory, but the Tuscaloosa one is one that is one that's there. So, Cass City is also in the path of this. It'll be at Cass City at 8:46. It'll be at Kingston here at 8:51. So if you live in either Cass City or Kingston, take shelter immediately. There is a storm here that is capable of producing a tornado. We're going to take a look at correlation coefficient and make sure there's no debris ball. There's not. We're going to come back to reflectivity. There's an inflow notch, like I said, very well defined right here, and taking a look once again at base velocity. Very strong couplet there. We're going to come to gate shear again and take a look at that one more time. So we are seeing values reaching 60, 70 knots. Once you get to 100, that is a very clear, at that point, you very likely have a tornado. So if that gate-to-gate shear continues to intensify, then we may end up seeing a radar-indicated tornado. Whereas this is radar-indicated rotation, you may end up getting a radar-indicated tornado as that gate-to-gate shear increases. Take a quick look at base velocity again since the radar updated. I'm going to come back down to gate shear. Okay, it looks like the rotation has begun to break back down again. What's going on is it appears to be some more precipitation forming in front of this, which is probably hindering it's hindering the updraft from really doing much, and so it's slowing down those that couplet there. So we will keep an eye on that. It's still tornado warned. It's still posing a threat to Kingston. If you live in Kingston, take shelter immediately. There's potentially a tornado in this. This storm will be at Kingston at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. How's it going, Ben? Welcome back. Keep an eye on this. Just for the record, we're gonna show you here. 66.2 mile per hour winds in outgoing, which means these are going away from the radar site, or the radar site's down here, which means that it is going up that way. And then down here we have, give me a second here, 56 mile per hour incoming winds, which are winds that are moving to the south. Okay, so we just got a radar update, and so we're going to take a look at gate-to-gate shear again. Yeah, I think that the precip in front of this hook is really kind of strangling that updraft. The hook, while it was becoming defined, has kind of isolated this little center pocket here, and so that could be cutting off the updraft from really happening in the storm. That being said, this was a rotating updraft, which means we may see tornadic development up here near the front where the new precipitation is at. So just for a kind of play-by-play of what was happening here, you see that band start to... Oops, come on. Well, you see it start to form that hook here, and then all of a sudden there's precipitation in front of it. All of a sudden there's precipitation in front of it that's kind of cutting off that updraft. Now, that being said, in the most recent update here, the precipitation's backing off, so we'll take a look. Base velocity again. It looks like that couplet's starting to re-strengthen. Nothing on correlation coefficient. And we'll grab gate-to-gate shear here. So we are seeing 40s again. See if I can find any 50s here. So gate-to-gate shear is a product that shows you the change in the change from winds going one direction to the other. So it's oftentimes one of the factors you take into account when you're looking for rotation in the clouds. This is actually a fast-moving storm, too. This is kind of just booking it. It's over Kingston right now, the area where there would be a tornado, if there is one. There's still definitely a mesocyclone in this. It just looks like the couplet is beginning to break down a little bit. For those of you who are watching, you can just ignore Randy Lee. That is my roommate, and he likes to troll. So he's sitting right to the left of me right now, laughing as I'm calling him out on the stream. So he's trying very hard to hold in the laughing. It is booking it. I mean, it's over Kingston a full 7 minutes ahead of time. Give me just a moment, guys. It's getting really dark in here, so I'm going to go turn my light on. All right, I'm back. So, Randy is getting Randy. Yeah, that's one way to put it. So once again, that couplet is still there, likely meaning that we have pretty deep rotation. We're going to take a look at another angle. We're looking at the 0.9 degree angle right here. Rotation's still there. We're going to take a look at the 1.3 degree angle, still there. 1.8 degree, it's still there. And it starts to fade away at the 2.4, but we do still see some very powerful winds there. I'm going to grab 3.1. Very powerful winds all throughout this thunderstorm. Oops, that's way too far in. All throughout this thunderstorm here. Come on. Switching back to reflectivity here, we're going to come over to, okay, no, there's still nothing really going on over there. It looks like the majority of this may be just about done as soon as it started. Unless I'm missing something, unless it's this down here. We'll see when they either update or cancel that tornado warning, which area they're worried about. So not a whole lot going on, except for that tornado warning right here. There's a severe thunderstorm warning over this entire area. 1 inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds are possible. In that, coming back over here, there are 3 severe thunderstorm warnings up here. 1.5 inch hail is likely in this severe thunderstorm warning affecting Charles Mix County in South Dakota, Bonham County in South Dakota, Douglas County in South Dakota, and Hutchinson County in South Dakota, as well as this severe thunderstorm warning right up here, which is affecting Douglas and Brule counties in South Dakota. And this severe thunderstorm warning right here, which is affecting Cherry County, Rock County, Brown County, and Keapaya County in Nebraska, which this has inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds, whereas that one that I read just a second ago has 1.75 inch sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. So they did decide to extend this tornado warning, and because of how far south they put it, I'm willing to bet that it's this area right in here that they're worried about. How's it going, history and alternate history? We're going to take a look at base velocity again. So yes, it's this area right here that they're most concerned about. We're going to grab gate-to-gate shear again. So we do have 52 knots right there. See 60 knots just about right there. So it looks like the rotation is beginning to start again. Grab reflectivity. The tornado warning is now for, come on, Sanilac County in southeastern Michigan. It has quarter-sized hail, and it's likely to have it may have a tornado in it. It is headed for Sandusky at 9:18 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Carsonville at 9:31 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and Applegate at 9:34 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. If you live between those cities and the storm, take shelter immediately. This may have a tornado in it. Take a look at correlation coefficient. Come back over here to reflectivity. That doesn't look like a debris ball. Come back to gate shear here. Still looking at just about the same. I think the highest that I see is right around 60 knots. That is, yep, that's just about 36 mile per hour. Give me just a second, guys. I've got a phone call. Sorry about that, guys. I'm back. I believe Randy is subbed to me, or at least he is on his other account. I think that I blocked him off of the off of my channel, which is why he probably used another account to get back on.
No, it's my same account.
It's the same one?
Under a different name.
Oh. Okay. Well, anywho. We do see that couplet is still there. Take a look at gate-to-gate shear again. Ooh. Hello. 70 knot gate-to-gate shear. 102 knots right there. And it's gone. Okay, well. They're just trying to make a fool out of me, it looks like. We're going to grab spectrum width again here in just a second. There we go. $21 knots, 14 knots. So the areas around this where there's relatively low spectrum width, these are the downdraft areas. These areas that have the that have higher spectrum widths, those are the updraft areas that we're interested in, because those updraft areas have potentially rotating air, which can cause tornadoes and mesocyclones and whatnot. Okay. I'm going to leave that for just a second here and monitor this again. We do have another tornado warning here. Let's see where the best radar site is. Oh, there's not a good one there, is there? KFSD. We'll grab that radar site really quickly. See what we can see. I'm predicting that the area in question is this little notch right there. We'll grab here. I'll mark that on the map here. That little area right there. Oh, come on. Why'd you go away? That little area right there. We're going to switch over here to base velocity. Yep, that's the area. How's it going, Weather 99? We're going to switch back over here. Gate to gate shear. Not seeing too much in the way of gate to gate shear. We'll grab spectrum width real quick. So these are definitely updraft areas. Probably looking at the RFD being right around here, and so it's pretty much all up to the RFD to really get something to happen here at this point, depending on what method of tornado genesis you agree with. We're going to grab base velocity here. So what we've got going on here is we have these inbound winds right here mixing in with these outflowing winds right over here with the RFD. And that's causing some issues. We've got one little pixel there of really high inbound winds, 58.3 miles per hour. Wait, Jacob's Weather, you're JDH? How did I not know that? Well, hi, JDH. Some storms are. I think that a lot of the threat is over at this point. Yep, we were just talking about that, Snake Doctor. I'm gonna take a look at base velocity again. That is definitely some strong rotation right here. We see that the air is coming in right into that notch and wrapping up right inside there. We're gonna grab correlation coefficient and see if we can see anything. I'm gonna mark this area right here because it'll help me determine whether or not it's a debris ball. Come back to reflectivity. There's not much precip there. We're going to come to base velocity. That is not likely to be a debris ball. That's good. That's good news. Oh, well, in that case, give me a second here. I guess that pretty much makes most people in the chat a moderator, but since you're a moderator on my Discord, I'm adding you to moderator of the YouTube channel. So there is very strong rotation right in this area. There's definitely a mesocyclone. There is potentially a tornado here. There is a tornado warning if you live in Saniliac. I have no idea really how to pronounce that. That's how I'm going to guess that it's pronounced. Take shelter immediately. This includes Sandusky. Here, let me switch back over to Interact. This includes Sandusky. This includes Carsonville, Applegate, and Port Saniliac. Sanilac. That's how I think you pronounce it. I'm going to read the tornado warning details. This storm will be near Marlette around 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Sandusky around 9:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Carsonville, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Carsonwell and Applegate around 9:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and Lexington and Port Saniliac at around 9:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Um, if you live in the line of the storm, take shelter now because there is that is a very well defined hook at this point. This has the potential to be a powerful tornado. San Il San Ilac? San Ilac. Okay. Um can see updraft winds over here, and it looks like the RFD is beginning to wrap around on the ground, which if that is going on, that is a bad sign because that could mean intensifying rotation in here, which then could lead to a tornado. Um, take a look at gate to gate shear again really quickly. That's what we're looking for when we're looking for tornadoes. We're looking for this really well defined, this really small gate to gate shear values over here, right at where you've got these two, where you've got the couplet. That is basically you've got winds that are changing direction very rapidly in that area. So this has not been observed yet, but we will keep an eye on it and see if we can, as the reports come in, we will keep an eye on it. I'm actually going to pull up Detroit weather. I'm going to grab, okay, Detroit news station. A lot of these news stations will have like live cams in these areas, or they will send people out to watch these areas. So I'm going to take a look at one of these and see if I can see anything. Yeah, no, I can't. Okay, well, this is a very, very intense rotation here. This is a well-defined hook. You've got your inflow winds coming here from the south. These really act as like mini fronts. So up to the north here, you've got the warm front. To the south here, you've got the cold front, and then in between, you've got the warm sector of the storm. This storm is feeding off all the energy and moisture in this warm sector and is lifting it up into the storm as the rear flank downdraft and the front flank downdraft are all pushing colder winds out toward the ground, whereas the inflow here is pulling air off the ground, warm air, and then condensing it in the top of the storm. And that is what a tornado is essentially made out of, are those inflow winds. So with this clear notch right here and the fact that this RFD is moving around, a lot of storm chasers use the term the horseshoe, and that's this area right in here. This is the horseshoe. If you were on the ground, this would be wind. So this would be cloud essentially that is in a horseshoe pattern. You've got a little clear area right up here, and you're clear all to the front of it. But you'll see a little lowering of clouds right in here, and the tornado, if there is one, would be right in this area right there. So we're keeping an eye on this. We're gonna take a look really quickly at. I've got storm reports pulled up, so if there are, if a funnel is reported, or if storm chasers see a tornado here, we will know immediately. Although this is north and east of where I live, so it's dark here, so it's definitely dark there. So I don't know if we're gonna get confirmation, especially this late at night. We're gonna take a look at base velocity here. Still some actually, well, yeah, right up here we've got the inflow winds and we've got the outflow winds. So there's still that couplet right there. Spectrum width up to 34 miles per hour. That's going to be this right here. Yeah, right around 20, 28 knots. That's about 30. It's about 34. Going to grab reflectivity again and see what we're looking at here. That notch has moved further to the north. Correlation coefficient. Okay, so we're still looking good. If you live in, give me a second here. If you live in Applegate, this storm will be at your doorstep at 9:33. If you live in Crosswell, this will be at your doorstep at 9:37. And if you live in Lexington, this will be at your doorstep at 9:44. So if you live in those areas, take shelter immediately because this is a potentially tornadic thunderstorm. Do not wait for confirmation. By the time you hear confirmation, this tornado could have been on the ground for an hour. Not an hour, but it could have been on the ground for like 20 minutes. And you might not have known because you were waiting for them to tell you there is a tornado on the ground. So whenever there's a tornado warning, take that as there is a tornado on the ground. Yes, it is. This line has been pushing through. I think it formed right around here in the Mountain Pleasant area. 2 tornado warnings now over here in South Dakota. So we'll grab this radar site here and take a look at what's going on there. Okay, so what do we have going on here? Base velocity. We do have some rotation going on right in there, and that's too difficult to see. Take a look at reflectivity. So if you live in Avon, this storm will be at your doorstep at 8:41 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So if you live in Avon, take shelter immediately. This storm potentially has a tornado. It definitely has a signature of a tornado right there. Take a look at base velocity here. I meant correlation coefficient. I was wondering why it didn't show me correlation coefficient when I clicked and said base velocity. So right now I'm just trying to figure out whether these blue areas and these lightning areas are debris balls. There might be one in this. I can't tell. Couplet separation, or do you seeing that in the Michigan one? Yep. There's definitely couplet separation there. That being said, the inflow on this is impressive. I'm going to come back over here to Nebraska and see if I can see those 2 supercells. So one of them has a severe thunderstorm warning. The other one has a hook. Going to take a look at base velocity on this. This is one to look at. This one might get tornado warned. We will look at spectrum width here. Okay, and we'll look at gate-to-gate shear. This one could be our next one to get tornado warned. We will have to keep an eye on this one. It does have a hook. We can see where those inflow winds are, and it does have a couplet. So weather point, stay around, be active, don't ask for moderator. We'll give you moderator if we think you deserve moderator. So but have a good one, man. I appreciate you coming in, and I will see you tomorrow once you tune in to another video. I probably won't live stream tomorrow, but I may live stream more, seeing as though if you watch the video that I did today, I detailed about how this general area is likely to get more severe weather in the next coming weeks with the whole heat wave thing that's going on. So that was way too far. Oh, and I also missed, yeah, Snake Doctor's right. This is all moving to Huron. So come back over here really quickly. Yeah, so this right here is kind of deteriorating. We likely have a mesocyclone, but I don't think that we're going to have a tornado on this one. That being said, just because I don't think it, I'm not an expert on this, so don't take my word for it. They say that there's a tornado warning on this. If you live in the path of this, take shelter immediately. Carsonville, take shelter. Applegate, take shelter. Have a good one, Weather Point. But I'm willing to bet that we see this get canceled here before long. So in Pickening, Michigan? I don't see any storm reports for that. I hope so too. Fortunately, it's moving into Lake Huron over here, so we will. If it doesn't dissipate, it won't really. I mean, the boats along the shore, but once it gets out into the deeper waters, not only will it have less of a chance of affecting a whole lot, but it also will likely deteriorate quicker thanks to being over water and whatnot. That being said, they do have special marine warnings out. They are calling for higher waves, and I'm surprised they haven't put out. I'm surprised they haven't put out one for water spouts yet. There was one for water spouts up here to the north earlier, and seeing as though this storm has a history of rotation, I would expect they would say something about potential water spouts. So, but yeah, like Jacob's Weather said, the the inflow notch has really deteriorated on this. It's nowhere near as defined as it once was. This looked like one big hook. So now, it still has still has hookish qualities, but not nearly as well defined. Tornado on the ground in South Dakota. I'm on it. Where at? I'm willing to bet that we just haven't gotten the storm report yet, but at 8:15 Central Daylight Time, a confirmed brief touchdown was located 5 miles southwest of Avon, or 13 miles west of Tyndall, moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. Weather spotter confirmed tornado. So there was a tornado on the ground here. We do see that really well-defined inflow notch right there. We're going to look at base velocity. There is still tight rotation. Now we have to keep in mind that this storm has a history of producing tornadoes, which means that it may once again produce another tornado. So we got to keep an eye on this. Gate-to-gate shear values, yeah, they kind of skyrocket just in that little area right there. 60 on each side. We're also going to look here at spectrum width. And yeah, you just got very powerful upflow winds. Updraft winds. If we see the area around here begin to turn more of this bluish color, that likely means that we've got the rear flank downdraft kind of pushing through, which you don't want. If you're looking for a tornado, what you're looking for is downdraft winds that help the tornado. Essentially, the rotation, you want it to strengthen the rotation by sort of providing some of that rotational energy that it needs. But if you have too much of a rear flank downdraft, you can actually form a front and cut off the inflow, which is something that will cause the storm to begin to die out. We're going to take a look at correlation coefficient here, and we're going to set a probe down right there really quickly and come back to reflectivity. That could be a debris ball. That could be a debris ball. I'm going to browse weather Twitter really quickly and see if anybody's saying anything about a tornado on the ground. South Dakota tornado. So far, I'm not seeing anything about there still being a tornado on the ground, but that being said, there is a hook here. This does have a history of producing tornadoes. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that there may be a debris ball there, just in this area right here. Yeah, and then this area right up here looks like that could be a tornado ball, but there's no confirmation of tornado on the ground at this point. It says that there's a weather spotters confirmed tornado. It says that there was a brief touchdown, which means that there is. So there being a brief touchdown here, that means that there is the potential for another touchdown to happen, seeing as though the rotational energy is there. We'll keep watching it and see what happens. Yeah, if you live in Avon, this is headed toward you as we speak, so get in your shelter immediately. This has a history of producing a tornado, and so if you live in Avon, I'm assuming none of the 10 people that are watching this live in Avon, but if you do, or you know somebody who lives in Avon, take shelter immediately. Call them, let them know that they have a potential tornado headed their way. Okay, and they just changed the warning to observed. This is for Charles Mix and Bonham counties in South Dakota, by the way. It looks like the tornado is on the ground again. At least that's what I'm here. That's what I'm seeing. The warning message reads that there is a tornado. It looks like, yes, there is a confirmed tornado on the ground. If you live in Avon, take shelter immediately. This storm has been spotted by storm spotters. This storm likely has a little bit of a debris ball there, which suggests that this is a powerful storm. So if you live in Avon, you need to be in shelter right now. If you live in Trip's kind of far out there. This might deteriorate before it gets to Trip. But there is definitely a tornado in Avon. So if you live in Avon, take shelter immediately. No, Kevin, this isn't James's channel. This is WeatherNow. My name's Jacob. So, I'm the meteorologist on this channel. List county and state of Avon for tornado alert. This is for Charles Mix and Bonham counties in South Dakota. Avon and Trip are in the path of the storm. Trip is a little ways out. No. Avon, South Dakota. Not Avon, Michigan. But yes, there is a well-defined hook there. There is a confirmed tornado on the ground. If you live in Avon, you need to be in your shelter. If you live between Avon and Trip, you need to be in your shelter. So I know that this isn't a debris ball. There was an area of blue over here that I was worried about potentially being a debris ball. I don't think there's a debris ball here. That area is blue because it's a little clear slot there. Most hook echoes will have that little blue streak in them. How's it going, Kevin? Thank you. The really dangerous thing about this is that not only is it going in the direction, so this is heading to the northeast, which is a dangerous area for it to be because that precipitation, where all of the like the front flank downdraft, where all of the precipitation is in the front of the storm, is obscuring the view of people who the tornado is heading toward. So not only is this a nighttime tornado, which is dangerous, this is also a it's also hiding behind a wall of precipitation. So if you live in Avon, the tornado is heading over Avon as we speak. If you live in Tripp, you need to be thinking about getting into your storm shelter, although this will be there in an hour. If you live between Avon and Tripp, there is a confirmed tornado on the ground. You need to be in your shelter right now. Also, regardless of activity, I'm going to have to end this live stream at 10. I have some work that I have to do. The tornado warning that was over here in kind of south central South Dakota has expired, and they let it expire. There's still this observed tornado on the ground headed to the north northeast of Avon. The tornado has been observed. If you live in the path of this, you will not be able to see it, mostly because of it being night, but also even if it wasn't the nighttime, it's hiding behind a wall of precipitation. The storm is headed in that kind of direction. All the precipitation is between the tornado is on the other side of the precipitation. So the only way that you could feasibly see this tornado, even if it wasn't nighttime, is if you were on the south end over here. I'm going to very, very quickly come over to this tornado warning. Not much going on over here. Very powerful winds headed out to the lake. So we're going to come back over here because this is a confirmed observed tornado. Where's Sioux Falls? Thank you. Yeah, Jen, I try to go wherever there's activity. I biased more toward tornadoes. So if I notice that there's a tornado in another state and not in another, but there are a ton of severe thunderstorm warnings, I will usually go to where the tornado warning is because that is where people are in the most danger, essentially. So, with that being said, here. Grab correlation coefficient again. Reflectivity. That may be a little itty bitty debris ball as it's passed over Avon. It looks like Avon is majority farmland, probably. If you can see from the satellite data here. Now I'm wondering why nobody has put out a local report about a tornado having touched down. Tornado warning in Michigan is canceled. So it is. That's good news. Oh, speak of the devil. It popped up right after I asked about it. Interesting. This tornado warned storm has just passed through Avon, South Dakota, and is on its way to Trip. The estimated arrival time to Trip is about 9:29 p.m. Central Daylight Time. 9:29 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So if you live in between Avon and Trip, there is a confirmed tornado on the ground headed your way, and you need to take shelter immediately. The good news is the updraft is starting to look a bit more disorganized on spectrum width, which suggests to me that it's getting cut off. So this may. Okay, this got downgraded to a radar indicated one. So this storm is either cycling or it's weakening. We'll take a look at it. We'll keep an eye on it for the next few minutes and see whether or not this re-intensifies again, or if this is in a permanent state of decline. It looks like I said earlier, if we look at spectrum width, there's just this vast sheet of outflow winds that I think have won over the inflow winds, causing the storm to get cut off from its energy source. So that's probably what's going on here. But we'll keep, like I said, we'll keep an eye on it over the next 10 minutes or so and see what this ends up doing. So this is a little animation of it. What's really cool about this animated view is you can really see it kind of like wrapping up into itself as that hook moves.
What?
You can really see how it kind of wraps into itself, and that's the process of the rear flank downdraft cutting off the inflow circulation. So we will see what ends up happening. That's not what I meant to click. I meant to click on gate to gate shear. Yeah, that inflow notch is definitely fading. Nothing on correlation coefficient. Spectrum width, sorry, is still showing. Oh, sometimes I put you guys on mute. I'm also eating right now, and so I'm doing both at the same time. And between bites, I've got the mic unmuted and I'm talking. So it's not you. I didn't really get a chance to eat dinner because I've been watching these since early in the day, since I got out of class. Really, um, I got out of class, made a video, did some homework, and watched the developing weather as it was happening, and then hopped on stream. And now I'm gonna soon at 10 p.m. I'm gonna get off and do more homework. Yay! Or if they're saying anything over here about no, still nothing about water spouts in this little uh, marine warning. We do have this line of thunderstorms building up over here to the west, and that line is likely has some very powerful winds behind it. Yeah, so this area right here is probably going to cease being tornado warned momentarily. The downdraft has completely cut off the updraft. So we may even see this decreasing in strength. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it. Still have a tornado watch over here until 9 p.m. Mountain Time, so that's in 15 minutes. And we have this severe thunderstorm watch over here until 4 a.m. Yeah, it's not usually the wife that forgets. At least not in popular media. Can't tell if those two supercells we were watching earlier became this or if it's these two over here. Cool thing, this is an outflow boundary. So the storm's outflows are literally forming a gust front and are pushing to the south, and you can see this is actually spawning some thunderstorms off of it, and it had its own gust front kind of produce off of it. Now, that being said, there's something interesting happening right there. We're going to take a look at not reflectivity, velocity there. Oh, I missed the part where you said it was your anniversary. Happy anniversary, DZ. This is rotating. That's what I meant to get. Gate to gate shear here. It's not rotating very strong, but we take a look at reflectivity here. There is definitely something happening with that. You can see it kind of curling up there. Keep an eye on that. Yep, and as I predicted, that tornado warning that produced the tornado has been canceled, as the downdraft had completely cut off the inflow winds. So no more tornadoes, at least not for that area. We still have 13 more minutes of tornado watch over here, but I believe that most of the energy, most of the rotational energy, is no longer there. So we will likely see this cancellation here before long. For some reason, I cannot get the dialogue to come up over here. Oh, this expires in an hour and 15 minutes. Just weather, I use a Blue Yeti. I have it set on the third setting from the left, and I also have my gain set at about 25%. So it's a great mic. I would recommend it. It's a little pricey, but it's worth it. It's I think it cost me just over $100. But I would recommend. It's got really good quality. But you can see these storms are all beginning to kind of form this line. And so when this line begins to appear, the squall line, or quasi-linear convective system, QLCS, you get less rotation generally, and so you get less of a chance for tornadoes, especially more powerful ones. And MJO and other models like GFS and Euro are showing an active Atlantic next week. If this happens, I wouldn't be surprised to see another U.S. landfall hurricane. Most models have this active period going from Weather 99. Check out my video that I made yesterday. It talks about that. Just weather. Blue snowballs are great. Just make sure you don't get a blue snowball ICE. That was what I used in the beginning, and the quality was kind of awful. Blue snowballs in general, though, are pretty good. Just not the ICE. They're the white ones. Get the ones that actually have settings that you can tweak on the back of them, because they're not. they're no. they're just not. you don't want them. Weather 99. The video that I made, it was called something along the lines of the Atlantic the Atlantic hurricane season is going to explode or something like that. I'm predicting in the next few weeks much higher activity Atlantic hurricane season, at least in the next few weeks. So we will see what happens. Base velocity. Taking a look at that little nub right there that I said I would look at earlier. It's that guy right there. Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap this up, guys. There's not a whole lot else going on. One severe thunderstorm warning over here. We had one confirmed tornado on the ground right over here. We also had a severe tornado warning right over here as well. We had a couple of tornado warnings in that Wyoming Nebraska border. Oh, wait a minute. Of course, as soon as I say that, 2 more tornado warnings pop up. I'm still leaving at 10, but I do want to take a look at these tornado warnings before I leave. Wait a minute. Are these tornado warnings or am I... Yeah, those are tornado warnings. I didn't know if I was just at the wrong... Stickney, South Dakota. Yeah, I see that. Base velocity. Yeah, there is some rotation in that. That is for sure. Let's take a look at down here. There is some rotation in that as well. This is the storm that produced the tornado down here. So this does have history of producing tornadoes. Those winds are definitely accelerating. We will go to spectrum width here. This one is a definite maybe. This one here has the winds, but I don't know if it has the updraft for it. All right, with that being said, guys, I am going to end the stream here. We do have these 2 more tornado warnings. This tornado warning here is headed for... Well, this storm has Trip in it. It looks like the area of rotation is going to head just to the east of Trip. And this tornado warning right here also apparently doesn't have any populated areas, which that's good news. So... I hope that you all enjoyed the video. Please check out my other videos if you haven't already. And I will see you all in the next one. So thank you guys and have a great... Oop, come on here. There we go. Thank you guys and have